Why am I so unlucky? Inuyasha questioned, looking at the 3 very small fish he was able to catch, and then looked over at Kagome's large pile of big fish. Guess who's stuck on cleaning duty? The Miko teased. Shut up, Inuyasha snapped, blushing, making the Miko laugh again. That was when Kilala rushed over to Kagome's side in her large form and began to nudge the Miko towards the cave's entrance in a persistent manner. Kilala, what's the matter? Kagome asked. That was when the Miko noticed how low the sun was behind the forest trees. Oh no! Kagome exclaimed as it disappeared below the horizon line. Wait, what's wrong? Inuyasha asked. Be on your guard, Kagome demanded as she got out her bow and arrow ready, while Kilala took a fighting stance beside her. Kagome, what the hell is your... Inuyasha started but stopped when he noticed how dark the sky was getting. Night had begun, and the full moon and stars could now be seen, and from the moon came a dark shadow that landed in front of the 3 friends. Who's there? Inuyasha barked as he took out his Tetsaiga out of its sheath and got ready to fight. The shadow responded by taking the shape of Kikyo herself. She had not changed in appearance at all since the last time Kagome had seen her. She was still the same age, wore the same clothes, and had the same sword Kagome had seen with her that awful night 12 years ago. Kikyo, Kagome stated menacingly. Kikyo smiled wickedly. Indeed, I've missed you as well, my dear twin sister. Twin sister? Inuyasha exclaimed, looking at the 2 young women. Yes, Kikyo here is my half-sister, but also my twin. We were born of the blood of the same mother, but we have different fathers, Kagome explained. 12 years. That's how long it took for the sun relic to finally be reunited with the moon relic, Kikyo trailed off. You have the moon relic? Inuyasha questioned. Kikyo smirked. Something like that, yes. That's when the dog-eared lord noticed the full moon necklace around Kikyo's neck that looked similar to Kagome's necklace. Wait, how did you 2 end up with the celestial relics? He asked, pointing to the 2 necklaces. You are as stupid as you are handsome, half-demon. I assumed you would have figured it out by now, but I suppose not. Kikyo sneered with a snicker. What are you talking about? Figured out what? Inuyasha asked, his grip tightening on Tetsaiga. The sun and moon relics are not 2 objects. They are 2 people. I am Kikyo, the moon relic, as well as the daughter of the moon spirit, Naraku, the evil Miko stated wickedly. Wait, what? Then that means the sun relic is... Inuyasha trailed off, looking at Kagome, who nodded. Yes, it's me. I am Kagome, the sun relic, as well as the daughter of the sun spirit, Harato, she stated. Inuyasha stared at Kagome in complete shock. Sister Kagome, I believe we've had enough talk now, don't you? Kikyo questioned as she pulled out her large sword from the sheath on her back, while Kagome's hand tightened around her bow and arrow. I'll make you pay, Kikyo. You'll pay for killing our mother, Kagome shouted as some of her spiritual powers went into her bow and arrow, outlining them with a golden light. I pity you. You won't be able to, since I shall extinguish your light first, Kikyo stated. As her, which made the... I will have... Kikyo sneered calmly as the dark blue energy outlined her sword. I will avenge you, mother, Kagome promised as she released her arrow on Kikyo's sword, which made its evil light disappear. You have very strong spiritual powers, just like our mother. However, you forget I am also her daughter, Kikyo trailed off as she summoned her dark Miko powers around her sword once more and charged at Kagome, only to have Sango's Hirai coats nearly hit her if she had not jumped back at the last second. Kagome, run! Sango shouted as she caught her weapon as it flew back to her. Who are you? Moroku demanded, frowning at Kikyo as his staff ready in hand, ready to put up a fight. She's Kikyo, Kagome's evil twin. I've never seen her before today, but I was told she killed her and Kagome's mother, Shippo said as he stood on the monk's shoulder with fear etched onto his face. Well, well, Sango, I must say you've become quite the fighter, though for a lowly human to battle me would be an embarrassment to the mighty moon. Allow me to give you something more on your level for battle." Kikyo trailed off as she pulled out a small piece of paper from her Miko kimono and whispered a few words that made it fold up into a very realistic-looking large silver serpent with black phases of the moon on its forehead. "Serpent of the moon, attack her!" Kikyo demanded, pointing at Sango, who positioned her hiraikotes. "Kilala!" Sango called as the Neko quickly grabbed Kagome and brought her over to the demon slayer. "Shippo, stay with Kagome and keep her safe. Me and Kilala will take care of Kikyo and her Shikigami serpent," Sango said, making Kagome's eyes widen. "What? No! Kikyo is mine to fight! She killed our mother!" Kagome started, but Sango cut her off. "I know what she did, Kagome, but Kilala and I promised to protect you. So stand down and let us handle it," the slayer pleaded as she got onto Kilala's back and flew towards the moon serpent, who hissed and showed its teeth as it slithered towards Sango and Kilala. "I'll take care of Kikyo," Moroku stated as he tried to run over to battle Kikyo, but Kagome grabbed his shoulder in order to stop him. "Don't. Kikyo will kill you in a matter of seconds. She's very tricky." Kagome trailed off when she then realized something was off about this battle. Kikyo was doing nothing as the serpent and Sango were charging at each other. Kikyo hasn't used the hurt incantation. That could only mean... Oh no. "Sango, Kilala, stop! It's a trap!" Kagome shouted at the top of her lungs. "What?" Sango yelled in shock, but it was too late. The moon serpent had wrapped itself around her and Kilala while they were distracted for that moment, and flicked the hiraikotes away. "Kagome, look out!" Sango screamed in terror as she then saw Kikyo use the shadows around the area to teleport behind Kagome. But before the dark Miko could strike her twin down with her large sword, ka-clink, INUYASHA blocked the attack with Tetsaiga before it could hurt Kagome. "Damn you, half-demon!" Kikyo spat as their swords crossed. INUYASHA then turned to the three behind him. "Moroku, Shippo, get Kagome out of here," he demanded. "At once," Moroku replied as he and Shippo pulled Kagome away from Kikyo. "You're a fool, half-breed. Protecting your beloved Kagome instead of yourself. You know her mother did the same thing for her, and it led to her death," Kikyo said coolly. "You bitch! It was your mother too! Why do you hate Kagome so much? She's the kindest person who ever lived," INUYASHA stated as he and Kikyo fenced. The dark Miko snickered at the statement. "The moon has and always will envy the sun. It is only in my nature that I wish for the sun relic's death," she stated simply as she blocked every single one of INUYASHA's attacks. The dog-eared lord growled. "I won't and will never let you kill Kagome," he shouted, to which everyone heard. Kagome blushed at his words as Moroku stood protectively in front of her with Shippo, while Sango and Kilala froze in the moon serpent's scaly flesh. "He really does love her," the demon slayer thought to herself as she then was able to get her samurai sword from the sheath on her side and slice the moon serpent's head off, freeing herself and Kilala. Kikyo frowned when she saw her Shikigami turn back into paper. "Well, if you want something right, you must do it yourself." She trailed off as she used her sword to push INUYASHA away from her and stabbed the ground, making darkness surround the six friends. "I can't see!" Sango's voice rang out. "What happened?" Moroku exclaimed. "Oh, great!" INUYASHA shouted sarcastically. "Sango, Kilala, Kagome!" Shippo called out, trying to find his friends in the pitch-black darkness. It was then that the group heard Kikyo's voice begin to chant. "Shadows of the moon overflow. Take my soul from me. Leave the realm of life and set the spirit free. Wither and decay, end this destiny. Break these earthly chains and set the spirit free. The spirit free," Kikyo's voice chanted, making Sango, Kilala, Shippo, and Moroku, and INUYASHA cry out in pain. The shadows around the group dissipated, and Kagome, who was perfectly fine, saw all of her friends on the ground in pain with terrible wounds on their bodies. "No," she stated menacingly as her hands began to glow with a golden light. "Flower of the sun, gleam and glow. Let thy power shine. Make the clock reverse and bring back what once was mine. Heal what has been hurt. change the fate's design, save what has been lost, and bring back what once was mine. What once was mine, Kagome chanted as her eyes glowed completely golden light that outlined her body as well. Her light healed her 5 friends, who all got up, but before they could do anything, Kagome ran up to Kikyo, who had her sword in hand at the ready. But was as quick as a flash, the Sun Miko slapped the Dark Miko in the face, causing her to wince in pain for a moment, while Kikyo cried out in pain, covering her face for a moment. But when she removed her hand, a very visible burn mark was able to be seen over her left eye. "You little bitch!" Kikyo shouted as Kagome grabbed her twins' wrists, making them both scream in pain. "Kagome!" Sango and Kilala yelled in alarm. "Let her go! Let go!" Kagome cried out in pain. "Not until you've paid for damaging my beautiful face!" Kikyo screamed when suddenly Moroku whacked her with his staff, making her release Kagome, who cried out in pain as she fell to her knees, holding on to her wrists. "Kagome, are you okay?" Inuyasha asked as he knelt down by the Miko's side. "It aches so much," was all Kagome was able to whimper as tears formed in her eyes. The sight of Kagome's yet-to-fall tears made Inuyasha tremble with rage, a rage that made him want to transform into a full demon and kill everything on sight. But instead, he carefully took Kagome's wrist in his hand and had to examine the damage Kikyo had done, and what he saw shocked him. On Kagome's wrists was a very thin layer of gray stone that had formed on where Kikyo's hand had been. "What? How?" Inuyasha started as he then took a breath. "Wait here," he growled as he tried to suppress his rage so as not to frighten Kagome even more than she already was. Kagome let out a small gasp when she sensed Inuyasha's full demon trying to come out, but at the same time she could feel he was trying to keep it at bay as he approached Kikyo, who was fighting Moroku with her sword, while the monk himself fought with his staff. "Kagome!" Shango shouted as she ran over and hugged the Miko tightly. "Are you okay?" she asked in a worried tone. "Just a bit scarred, but nothing that I can't heal," the Miko replied shakingly. "You'll pay for what you've done to Kagome!" They all heard Inuyasha shout at Kikyo, who was being cornered by the dog-eared lord, Moroku, Kilala, and Shippo, and who had his little foxfire at the ready to put up a fight. Kikyo frowned as she held the hand she used to grab Kagome in pain. "Damn! Don't go on thinking you've defeated me. I will kill the precious sun relic, no matter what it takes," Kikyo promised as she then ran into direct moonlight and then lifted her up into the sky of the full moon.